Okay, guys, we are back today. I have my friend Ashwin. Once again, my name is Mike Stewart, Helsing Gracie Black Belt. And Ashwin, man, this guy's been one of my supporters for a long time. His son Siddharth has been training with us since he was like a little boy, man. It seems like
7 years.
So, like, really huge supporters of the academy, which I appreciate. You know, what happens is a lot of times these guys, it becomes more than just a student relationship. Ashwin's also a very good friend of mine at this point. So Ashwin is a doctor at Johns Hopkins. Tell people a little bit about what you do, Ashwin.
Sure. So I'm on faculty at Hopkins. I take care of patients with infectious diseases, and I do research in the same. So I'm what's called a physician scientist, and I split my time between those two things.
Awesome. And the reason why I'm doing all these interviews, but specifically why I wanted to interview Ashwin today, is to kind of change the perception of the type of students that are participating in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And, you know, I think there's this misconception that it's all a bunch of tough, unintelligent meatheads like me, right? But clearly, you know, there's a lot of people just like Ashwin in here. Ashwin also has 2 children, right? Of course, a very demanding career being a doctor at Johns Hopkins, one of the most prestigious, you know, medical facilities on the planet, really. But you still make it into training. So talk to a little bit about that. Like, what advice would you give for people that have a demanding career like yourself, and maybe they're using the excuse of, well, you know, my job is too much, I have to focus on my kids. What would you say to those people?
Well, I mean, I could be an evangelist for Mike and Jordan's business, I mean, for 30 minutes, but in the interest of time, I would say that this has been transformative, both for my personal life as well as my career. Briefly, I can say that for an hour to an hour and a half in the evenings that I come, there's this Zen moment where you can be totally mindful. And when I say that, I mean that in the most meditative way. And you know, it's amazing because I've done plenty of yoga, I've done plenty of running and exercise and other pursuits, but there's nothing that really gets you as focused on your own moment as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. More importantly, I think that what the stewards have created here is particularly attuned to people such as myself. I'm not, you know, I never was a gym rat. You can tell by my physique. You know, no one's intimidated when I walk in any rooms. But at the same time, there's a very studied approach to building on skills and using pure technique as best as it can be described. And that appeals to someone like me who really feels intellectual about a lot of pursuits, but they really break it down into steps that are digestible and then practicable. And I think that's true of all the instructors here. We've had a phenomenal time here. I can evangelize and I do evangelize outside of here all the time.
So let me ask you this. So so you said that you've tried, and I'm just going to move this a little closer so people talking in the back, I don't want to lose.
Catch all the sweat.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I washed up in the bathroom. I washed all my sweat off. But like you said that you've done things like the running and yoga and stuff like that. And, you know, not taking away from any of those things, of course, but you said that this is you enjoy it more. And I totally know what he's talking about. Everyone that trains knows what he's talking about. Like the Zen. Like, dude, if you could see outside right now, it is like the sun hasn't shone all day.
Yeah, right.
It's raining, you know, and like, you know, I was feeling a little bit down today myself. But you just come in, you know, you just come in anyway. So tell me how you feel like it's different to maybe people that have tried other things for stress relief, for you know, personal mental development, and maybe, you know, what would you say, like, how is it different?
Well, I will say that camaraderie is a big deal. And I can't tell if that's on top of all the other benefits or that's integral to all the other benefits, but you're working often with partners. I think the vibe that's cultivated here is very, very chill. Meaning there are no, can I curse?
Yeah,
I won't curse.
You can curse.
There are no bad types. There are no bad types, and there's a strong filter. The discipline filters out that certain type because it really is. It takes years and years to get good at this. I've been training for 4 years, and I consider myself at the lowest rung of, you know, I basically know the vocabulary, of jiu-jitsu, but other than that, it feels like I'm really, like if you were to liken it to my training in the other part of my life, I would say it feels to me like I haven't even started a bachelor's degree, but I know what it is. I know what the terminologies are.
For sure.
But there's so many little details that I still have to work on. So that process, if you can imagine how difficult that is to master something like this, it does filter out the negativity. And I would say that that Stewarts and the other instructors do a good job of actively filtering out and calming down people who otherwise, you would be intimidated by.
Yeah, and sometimes it's unintentional. It's just a big, strong guy that's not really in control of his or her body. And we just have to remind them, hey,
Right.
tone it down. And then sometimes they are assholes, and we have to, I look at, Ashwin like my brother, and everyone here like my family on the mats, and I wouldn't let a dirtbag in my house, in my regular family, so why would I do that here? So yeah, like, that is actually something like we do take great pride in around here, is kind of like the douchebag filter. We don't want them in here. They don't last long, like he said, and either they will change or they will leave, because we're not changing the culture here. We've done a lot of work to get it to where it is, and we don't want to let one meathead, interfere with that. And I like what you said before. We were just talking before the cameras were on about how you, at your job, you're kind of like a purple belt, right?
It may be a purple belt. Maybe some people would
Maybe
say
a brown?
blue. No. I
Okay.
think I'm squarely purple.
Okay. Well, Ashwin is a blue belt here. And what's great about jiu-jitsu, it does kind of make you look at every other activity like being honest with yourself. Like, where am I at here?
Right.
You know what I mean? And because the belts actually, they do mean something here. It's not like you're handed belts just, arbitrarily. Like, there's actual standards, and, it's pretty easy to tell, right? Like, when someone's a brown belt, like, you respect their skills.
Well, so I got promoted later than a lot of people who started with me, and I felt like it was right on time for someone like me. I've been training for 4 years, and I'm still kind of early as a blue belt. I know it sounds ridiculous to people, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. And I was lucky because I came to it later in life, and so I knew what it meant to put work into something and to have it not pay off immediately.
Yes, man, that's something that people, because you're how old?
46.
So you're exactly 10 years older than me. Even my generation is like really, really bad at that. Like, a lot of friends my age or younger come in, they don't get the immediate results, they don't get the instant gratification and satisfaction of winning right away, and a lot of them have never really lost hard in life until they come and do something like this, and they're not really equipped for it. Whereas I do find that people that are a little bit more mature in my generation, maybe have been through a few more things, and like a generation older than me, tend to really do awesome in here because they've been through life's challenges. They know that things worth achieving don't come overnight.
Yeah.
So
if you've ever tried to play guitar, if you've ever tried to do anything, it just takes a while. There are very few naturals, and I think that's the difficulty. The only other thing I'll evangelize about now is, there's this debate about martial arts in general. And I would say the one difference for something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in my humble opinion, is that it's really taken things to martial science. It's not, yes, there is an artistry to it. There's no doubt that there's an artistry to it. But there's a lot of practical, okay, let's do the experiment. Would this work? And I think what, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system has come upon over 75 years, almost 100 years, right? It's almost 100 years now, has been just...
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years, putting together a system that has gone through all the experiments. And Mike Stewart is the first, I've seen him do this 100 times, when he's teaching self-defense, and someone says, yeah, but what about this? What if I did this? He'd say, okay, well, let's just try it. Let's
Show
see.
me.
Let's see. And he...
And not in a way like,
not in a
show
challenging
me.
way. No.
Would you? No, just, hey, show me, bro. Show me
Yeah.
show me what problem you're having, and let's reverse engineer the problem.
Right, I saw a brown belt police officer show this thing, and Mike Stewart said very honestly and humbly, I'm not sure what I would do. And he deferred to other people. He got some, quorum of high-level belts to pass their opinion, and that was impressive. I mean, like, I'm totally a science dude, and that's impressive that they would subject it to that rigor.
And I was impressed by that too. Sorry to cut you
No,
off.
of course.
But I was impressed by that too when I started jiu-jitsu, because I came from traditional martial arts, and they would have some arrogant answer for a question like that. Well, like, I would never end up in that position. Yeah, but what if you do? And when I was, my first coach was Stu Ramos, and he's a very calculated guy. And he would always have an approach to it. He was like, hey, if I don't have the answers, we have access to people, in the association that do have the answers. Being dismissive of a student that has a legitimate question is ridiculous.
Right, maybe they've been in that situation. Maybe
Especially a cop. I mean, I know. I was kind of trying to think here, but I know exactly who you're talking about right now. And
you're right. Yeah,
that dude's been in the trenches as far as being a police officer goes. He probably ran into that situation, and for me to dismiss it, why would he train with me if I can't help him with the answers? And we're lucky because we have students like Mike Johnson and stuff like that who are, involved in training law enforcement. That typically we can get the answers from somebody. So
it's fantastic. I think that it's nice to see that the science works. That's that's why people who like science keep coming back to it. They feel like, well, why do you use vaccines? Because they work. Why do you do science? Because it works. This actually works. I mean, you would never expect someone who's 150 pounds to be able to move someone who's heavier than they are at all. And it works. I mean, it really does.
Oh yeah. And again, Ashwin, one of my biggest supporters, man. Like, can't thank you enough. Like, it's really great seeing the progress that Siddharth's made and you've made, and you've been with me since almost the beginning, man. So
since Clarksville.
Since the Clarksville days, and you guys remember that. So get in here. Look, you guys that are out there that are professionals, doctors, attorneys, stuff like that, that think, oh man, this is not going to be for me. You see this. This guy's been training for 4 years, and if you put the work in, we're here to train anybody. So thanks for the time, bro.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to add?
No, it's again, I just keep going for like 30
We could.
minutes. I
We
talk
could
all
keep
my
going.
friends'
This
ears
is the
off.
longest one so far. So. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up there and share the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys like what you're seeing here. Peace.